Every year, thousands of manga are published, with only a handful reaching heightened success. As a result, a lot of good manga go under the radar for various reasons, with the first of these being Goze Hotaru. This story is about a Goze named Hotaru. So in Japan, there were these women, who were usually visually impaired, who would travel around the country and make a living as musicians. While Hotaru was born with sight, she lost it as she grew up, and after hearing a band of Goze perform, she became inspired to take up the shamisen and become a Goze herself. Unfortunately, when Hotaru asks the Goze if she can become an apprentice, she's shot down, being told she must train her voice, become physically stronger to carry her stuff while traveling, and to learn a few songs. While most people would be discouraged by these challenges, Hotaru feels invigorated and motivated to keep chasing her dream. Despite this, her grandfather feels the opposite. While his daughter, Hotaru's mother, had passed away, and his son-in-law, Hotaru's father, had gone on a mysterious journey, leaving Hotaru when she was a young child. Hotaru's dad is actually pretty important, but you'll have to read the manga to learn more about that. While Hotaru wants to become a Goze because of her love of music, she also wants to utilize the freedom that Goze have to try to figure out what's up with her father. Where did he go? Why did he leave? Will he ever come back? The story is pretty interesting, and so is the world that Hotaru lives in. It is set in Imperial Japan, but there is also some fantastical elements. I believe that the mangaka, Ko Tosoya, intended to show only a little bit of the fantastical stuff in the beginning, and slowly introduce more and more stuff as the manga went on. Unfortunately, the manga ended early, being axed at just 24 chapters long. Despite this, the manga is definitely worth reading, as the art is very unique and the story is super interesting. So, why was this manga axed? Well, while it was received well in the West, it did pretty poorly in Japan. This is because it failed to find an audience. It serialized in the Jump Plus magazine, which is mostly read by teenage boys, and let's be real, the average Japanese teen isn't gonna care about a blind girl trying to become a musician. Another unique manga in Jump Plus is Maison and the Manion Apartment. This is the last Jump manga I'll talk about, I promise. So, in this manga, the world has pretty much ended, as the sun has expanded into a red giant, and the last remaining place where humans live is a single apartment megastructure. Inside this apartment, time is infinite, but if you leave, you'll be toast, literally, as the sun will burn you up. Because time is infinite, people are born via recycling, where, when someone dies, they're used to create new life via some H.R. Geiger looking thing. When Maison is born, she's chosen by the apartment council to be the new landlord for the apartment. The landlord oversees the apartment and tends to all the chores and makes sure everything works properly and everyone stays safe. While it sounds like the landlord is like the king of the apartment, the reader will be quick to find out that there are much greater forces at play. Anyways, Maison has a twin brother named Birdie. While Maison is a carefree and pretty laid-back individual, Birdie is much more serious and focused. They are a really solid duo, and on their 14th birthday, Maison and Birdie make plans to celebrate, but when Maison tries to find Birdie, he is nowhere to be seen. She goes around the entire apartment looking for him, only to find out that he's been recycled. Birdie had been investigating the previous landlord, and when he saw what the previous landlord has seen, the creature that recycles people, the apartment man, recycled him. This leaves so many questions. What did Birdie see? Why was he recycled? Who is the apartment man? As the story goes on, we learn about the world through what was left behind in the past. We see other floors of the apartment, meet characters who have been impacted by different facets of the apartment, and unravel the mysteries of the apartment. As you can see, the art is just amazing. The gritty aesthetic combined with the surreal, dark sci-fi world really ties everything together. It really feels like Mad God meets BAM! Out of all the manga on this list, this one is definitely my favorite, and I recommend that everyone gives it a try. For those of you who are returning viewers, I have a gift for you, a token of my gratitude. Here's a dark fantasy manga recommendation. This manga, called Truth Weavers, takes place in a medieval world where people who can use magic are seen as monsters. Because of this, they are oppressed and have less rights than non-magic users. This story follows Leon, this guy who's really good at magic theory and really understands how it works, but his magical ability is pretty weak. Because his magic is weak, he's seen as like the lowest of the low, making a living teaching magical theory to lesser nobles. One day, the people who regulate magic send him a new student, a magic-using kid from a country that is currently at war with Leon's country. Obviously, the kid, whose name is Zeeks, has a talent for magic, but he's unable to control it. He's frequently bullied for being a magic user, and he often hurts others with his magic. Leon has to help Zeeks control his magic, as well as come to terms with his own place in the world. Similarly, there's a war going on between the country Leon Leon is in Zeke's home country. This heavily impacts their relationship, causing rifts and conflicts, and this will probably impact your perception of magic in this world. While we see how versatile magic can be from Leon's perspective, we're shown just how terrible magic can truly be from Zeke's, especially when it's used to inflict violence. This manga is very fast-paced though, I will warn you that, and it definitely isn't for everyone. But if you enjoy dark fantasy stories, this might quench your thirst for a little while. Also, as you can see, the art is very well done. So, if this manga is so good, why isn't it popular? Well, this manga is serialized in Magakami. Oh, you haven't heard of that publisher? Yeah, that really explains a lot. This manga didn't really get any traction in Japan due to being published in a rather unknown manga company, and it never received an English translation either. So, despite being good, this manga definitely wasn't successful. Another manga that is underrated is The Knight and the Witch Will Survive. This manga is pretty unpopular because the name spoils the entire story. But what is the story about? Well, after a long journey, a nobleman knight named Agredios returns to his village, only to find out that everyone has been wiped out. He investigates the nearby forest to find out what destroyed his village, only to stumble across a witch. There had been rumors that an evil witch lived in the forest, so Agredios thinks that she's the culprit. He confronts her and they battle. After defeating her, he takes her back to the village and asks her to revive everyone. The witch explains she can't, she would if she could, and she didn't do anything to hurt the villagers. Agredios quickly realizes that what he did was wrong and apologizes. The witch accepts his apology and they work together to rebuild the village and bring it back to its once prosperous and peaceful state. This is a good story about found family, forgiveness, and loss. Also, there's a lot of really fun action, and as you can see, the art is amazing. Unfortunately, this manga was axed, so the ending is rushed and kinda trash. But if the author had the opportunity to write a proper conclusion, I could really see this story being much more popular. Also, if you really like the art, it's done by Gonbei Shinkawa, who did the art for another manga that I've talked about, The Wolf Never Sleeps. You may want to check out that one as well. Another way this manga stands out is its character design. A lot of fantasy manga have pretty similar character designs, but in The Knight and the Witch Will Survive, the characters feel fresh and unique. Obviously, not really a major talking point, but I still thought it was worth mentioning. For those of you who are interested in this manga, you might go and check out the My Anime List page for this title to get some more information. You'll probably see the scathing review that talks about how Agredios is a creep and keeps the witch like a prisoner. This is pretty insane considering the circumstances. As I said, Agredios spends pretty much the entire manga trying to atone for his mistake, so I think you should give it a shot. The next underrated manga isn't even a manga, but an old school manhwa. Gui is about a warrior named Musang and his quest for vengeance. He has a mysterious mark on his body, and his goal is to figure out its meaning, all while countless enemies try to track him down and defeat him, and prevent him from solving the mystery. While the story itself is alright, what really makes this manhwa stand out is the art. As you can see, it's just outstanding. The art is paired with a lot of action, as Musang seems to get jumped every chapter. I don't want to say too much about it because it's an action mystery, but if you like serious art and a good thriller, you'll probably enjoy Gui. So, why is Gui underrated? Well, it's an old school manhwa. No one seems to read these anymore. A lot of people don't realize that Koreans have been writing stories about hype moments and aura farming well before solo leveling. Heck, some people don't even know that Koreans made comics before Never Webtoon came out.
I think this is where manhwa really shines. At its worst, I think it tries too hard to replicate the experience of a normal comic, but it's at its best when it does its own thing, when it's really willing to use the format of a webcomic to its fullest potential.
Anyways, those are some underrated manga recommendations. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate those of you who gave support on the last couple videos. Your kindness really means a lot to me. Thank you all for watching.